Hi dears, welcome back to our class. In the last class, we had discussed about microprocessors and the features related to the efficiency of microprocessors. Now, the information and the instructions handled by the microprocessors have to be stored for future use, right? Now, can you say where do these informations get stored? Yes, it is in the memory of the computer. Usually, computers have two types of memory: permanent memory and temporary memory. Computers store temporary information files in RAM, a component which is made up of IC chips. When the power supply stops, the data stored in the RAM gets lost. The hard disk in which the operating system and all the other files are stored is the permanent memory of the computer. Let's understand this through an example. Imagine that you are preparing an article in word processor software. If the power supply stops, your file will be lost, right? But if that file is saved, we can retrieve it later. Retrieve means get back. The file would be in the temporary memory of the computer before it was saved. But after the file is saved, it is sent to the permanent memory. Clear? Here we had mentioned that temporary memory is the RAM. Have you ever seen it? Look at this picture. This is the RAM. RAM means random access memory. Drastic changes are taking place happen in the structure and storage capacity of RAM. We use big size RAM in desktop computers and small size RAM in laptops. In gadgets like smartphones, tablets, etc., the RAM is inbuilt in the motherboard, that is, fixed inside the motherboard. Nowadays, we use RAM which has more storage capacity than the RAM used earlier. Now, you have seen that the permanent memory of the computer is the hard disk. Normally, all files including pictures, music, video, and the operating system of the computer are stored in the hard disk. Hard disk drive of various storage capacities are now available. While performing some tasks like video editing, it may require more memory than the existing capacity of the RAM for its functioning. A part of the hard disk is usually kept apart for these purposes. This is called the swap space. Okay, so apart from RAM and the permanent memory hard disk, we have another small space of memory called swap space inside the hard disk. Clear? Which are the data storage devices used nowadays? Hard disk drive, that is HDD, solid state drive SSD, and secure digital cards SD cards are the data storage devices used nowadays. Now let's move to our next topic, units of data storage. This topic is very important, so listen carefully. The basic unit of the capacity of data storage devices is byte. Okay, a byte is 8 bits. That is, a byte consists of 8 bits. Bit is a word formed from binary digit. Binary is a word that is very much familiar to us, right? A bit is a value of either a 1 or 0. You have understood this in the lesson programming. Now 1 kilobyte means KB, is made up of 1000 bytes. Note that 1 kilobyte is equal to 1000 bytes. Subsequently, higher units like megabyte, gigabyte and terabyte are formed. In the place of kilobyte and megabyte, units like kibibyte and mebibyte are also used. Here we have to study the relation. 1 kilobyte is equal to 1000 bytes. Subsequently, 1 megabyte is equal to 1000 kilobyte. 1 gigabyte equal to 1000 megabyte and 1 terabyte equal to 1000 gigabyte. Now let's look at the path of information transfer. The paths used to transfer information between computers or between the components in a computer are called bus. Okay, this is the picture of a bus. Then serial advanced technology attachment cables, SATA cables, are used to connect the DVD drive and the hard disk drive to the motherboard. This helps in the speedy transfer of information inside the computers or between two computers. Clear? Now let's know about the main component of the computer, motherboard. Okay, this is a picture of a motherboard. You are now familiar with the components of computer like CPU, RAM and hard disk drive, etc. When the computer works, all these components and other parts of the computer have to exchange the data. This happens through the motherboard or the main board. Motherboard is a complicated circuit board which contains a number of electronic chips and electric circuits. All these components in the computer are connected to the motherboard. Okay, the connectors of the input or output equipment also reach the motherboard. Slots for connecting the expansion cards can also be seen in the motherboard. Now you might have understood how the motherboard got its name. Next component, SMPS, Switched Mode Power Supply. You have seen that many components are connected to motherboard. In order to transfer data, electricity is inevitable, right? There are small and big components in the computer. Do all these equipments or components need the same quantity of electricity? Regular and accurate quantity of power supply to components like motherboard, processor, hard disk and DVD drive is carried out by the equipment called SMPS, that is Switched Mode Power Supply. See, this is the picture of a SMPS. Students, so far we have discussed about the various components of the computer. Now let's study about the activities going on inside the computer while it is turned on. See the illustration. What is the first step? Yes, turns the power on. Then the operating system collects instruction from the BIOS chip. Then the process called power on self-test happens, and then booting happens. Now let's see one by one in detail. All these components function from the instructions they get from the chip called Basic Input Output System, that is BIOS, which is fixed in the motherboard. Okay, so when the power is turned on, first the operating system collects the information or the instruction from BIOS, that is the first process. Then when you switch on the power, the first process that takes place inside the system unit is known as power on self-test, that is POST. This is a test to examine whether the components in the computer are functioning properly. Now what happens after the power on self-test? Booting is a process by which the operating system in the hard disk starts functioning. So after power on self-test, booting happens inside the computer. Okay, now just imagine if the computer is not used for many days. Do the system time and date show errors? When there is no power supply, the CMOS battery that lies near the BIOS chip gives power to. That's why there is no error in the system time and date even when there is no power. So we have discussed the various components inside the system and the activities going on inside the computer while turned on. Okay, now let's move to another topic, green computing. Green computing is the environment-friendly way of designing, manufacturing and using electronic devices. It also includes the disposition of defect materials and waste in an effective manner. Defect means those materials which are not functioning. Okay. Useless parts of computers, electronic devices such as phones have become a big cause of pollution. These, known as electronic waste or e-waste, affect living beings and affect the environment badly. Using high durable and low power consuming equipment is a part of green computing. What can we do to promote green computing? Yes, shut down the computer and other electronic devices after use. Print on paper only when it is very essential. Okay, these are the things to be used to promote green computing. Okay children, this chapter is over As this chapter is fully theory oriented, you have to study all the points very carefully. If you have any doubt, ask me through the WhatsApp group. I will definitely support you. All our portions are over. Thank you for watching.